Hi, my name is Bente, I'm the Norse Witch, and today I'm telling you about the plans that I have for the upcoming dark half of the year. The dark season is among us. It is finally very much feeling like fall around here. What seems like the last sunny and warm days have now passed, and we have come back to the perpetually wet, dark, and kind of cold and gloomy days that are fall in northern Germany. With fall coming around, I thought I could tell you about the plans that I have for the upcoming dark half of the year. I'm a person who really struggles with the dark season, and you always really like when I share stuff from my personal practice. So I asked you on YouTube via a poll whether you would like to see a video like this where I just casually go through what I have planned for the upcoming dark half. And like literally 99% of you, I think, said yes. So that is what we're going to talk about today. So without further ado, I guess get yourself some tea or a snack or something, and let's hop into it. So first of all, I should probably mention that I am not one of the fall girlies. I know a lot of people are insanely excited about fall and about all things spooky and gloomy, and a lot of people's favorite weather is dark and gloomy and foggy. I'm not one of those people. Maybe it is because Halloween isn't really a thing here. I kind of feel like over in the US and in Canada, Halloween is such a big thing that it's kind of celebrated like Christmas, like it's a huge deal there. Here, not so much. Fall is just an in-between season. It's just a preparation season for Christmas. Once September rolls around, you'll find Christmas snacks and candies in all of the stores. And Halloween is just like okay, we will sell a little bit of Halloween stuff because we want to make money. But apart from that, nobody really cares about it. It's not a huge deal around here. Additionally, up here in northern Germany, we don't really get a lot of nice fall weather. Whenever it is fall and we actually get a lot of sun, I get insanely excited because once fall rolls around, it's literally just rain and fog and clouds and darkness. That is what fall and winter is up here. We also don't get beautiful snowy winter. It's just too mild of a climate for a lot of snow. So we don't usually get a lot of snow. That is a once in 5 or 10 years situation where we get a lot of snow. And when it happens, and if it happens, everyone gets very excited. But usually fall and winter here are just wet. Very, very wet. We get a lot of rain. It's just raining nonstop. It's dark and it's honestly kind of depressing. We get very little daylight in winter up here. I know it's worse up in Scandinavia, but it's already dark enough to bring up seasonal depression. Seasonal depression is something that comes around to me every single year. Sometimes it's worse, sometimes it's less bad because sometimes we get a nice winter. Yeah, but sometimes it is very bad, so I kind of have to do things in preparation for the dark half of the year so that I have something to look forward to, because usually once I see the first yellow and red leaves on the trees, I feel dread. I feel dreadful because I know that what's coming up will not be very fun. So I just need to do something to be able to look forward to it instead of just fearing it and being afraid of what my mental state will be like. So with that being said, I like to kind of not make very harsh plans, but just like rough plans on what I want to do, and I try to really romanticize fall and winter just so that I have something to look forward to. And this year is no different. I have made some plans. Again, they're not harsh plans. They're not like, oh, I will do something every single day or every single week or something. It's just a rough plan. I just look into myself and kind of try to figure out what I think I need that year. But it's usually something that is more low effort and something that I can do in the house more, because of course it's dark and gloomy and wet and rainy, and I hate going outside when it's raining. And with that, of course, my witchcraft practice and my heathenry practice is also shifted more indoors. So while in summer and in spring I really focus on doing a lot of work with the local spirits, doing a lot of work with the plant spirits, foraging a lot, doing anything that I can do outside. Once fall and winter roll around, I shift everything inside. With that being said, I really want to focus on the house spirit this year. As you might know if you've seen my vlogs, you will know that we do have a house spirit here, and I really want to focus on connecting more with the house spirit, figuring out what they're all about, what they like, what they dislike, and what I can do to keep them happy. Because if you know one thing about house spirits is that you have to keep them happy or you will have problems. So that is definitely something that I want to focus on this year, because that's something that I can literally do or have to literally do inside the house. Something else that is very important, that is not necessarily a personal choice, is my book is due at the end of December. So I will of course have to focus a lot on that. I am kind of happy about that, because that way I have something to focus on. It kind of to me sometimes feels like once January comes around, then I get into a better mood, because I know now it's a fresh start and soon the days will get longer again. The darkest part of the year, which is of course around the winter solstice, is already behind us. So from that moment on, the days are getting longer again, and usually the weather also gets nicer in January and February. Yeah, that way, while we're kind of working our way towards the darkest day of the year, I have something to focus on, which I can do inside and which I can really dive headfirst into. And that's kind of good to know, because I hope that will just distract me from winter and it being dark. And I want to really romanticize that. I'm already doing that, kind of, but I want to go even more into that. I already made a candle that I can burn while I'm working on the book. I want to make a special incense for writing, like to give me inspiration and ease. Let's just say ease the process of phrasing things nicely, because of course as a non-native English speaker that can be a struggle if you write in English. If you don't write in your first language, it's always harder, of course. So phrasing something nicely and coming up with good terms for stuff, not just repeating the same words over and over, that can be a struggle. So I want to really focus on working magically to aid me in that process even more, now that we're going basically into the final stages of writing my book. That's not something that I have any choice in. I have to finish that book in December, but I'm excited that I can focus on that. And with that, of course, also comes more academic work, research work. I already have done a ton of research and read so many sagas and so much like academic papers, anthropological ones, archaeological ones, things like that. So I'm doing a lot of research. I'm barely reading anything apart from research for my book currently, and that will probably stay the same until the end of the year. Apart from our book club book, which currently is Psychic Witch, which we're working through until December. So that's kind of the only book that I'm reading alongside all of the research that I'm doing. I'm kind of also excited about that. I don't know why, but for some reason I really enjoy reading like academic papers and books and things like that. I'm kind of a nerd. Maybe that comes when you start working with Odin. But reading wise, that will be what I will be reading, but I'm very excited that afterwards I can finally get into so many other books. I'm excited about finally reading fiction again. I'm excited about reading other witchy books again, because literally the last witchy book that I've read outside of book club has been a lot of time ago. So I'm excited that once I'm done with the book, I can finally start reading other things again. There will be less pressure reading wise, because at the moment I just have to work through a lot in a short period of time. But talking about books, I already mentioned we're working through Psychic Witch, and of course that will go on until December. And that is kind of fitting, because I want to really focus on my psychic senses, trance work, meditation, divination, all of those kinds of things, which of course a lot of people do more during the dark half of the year because we're going less outside, we're going more inside, either in the home or inside ourselves, and I really want to focus on that. I haven't done a lot of divination in quite some time. I've kind of fallen off the bandwagon with my tarot practice, for example, and I really want to practice it more again. Same with runes. And I have a magpie oracle that I've started putting together when I took Olivia's course. I don't remember what it was called, but Olivia made an entire course on like bone divination and things like that. And I started a magpie oracle and I've always wanted to use it, but I kind of always forget to collect more things to add to the oracle. So I really want to focus on that a little bit more. But apart from that, I want to focus on more meditation. I do meditate regularly, especially every single morning I try to meditate. But that's of course only shorter meditations because it's before work. And I really want to focus more on meditating longer again, doing more trance work again, spirit flight, stuff like that. Again, enhancing my psychic abilities. I want to dive more into my clairtendency because I've always just been like, oh yeah, I mean, I do feel stuff and that's enough. And I mean, yeah, sure, I can work around things with what I'm already able to do, but I want to enhance it. So it's kind of fitting that we're reading Psychic Witch at the moment. Hello, Charlie! Charlie has just come back from adventuring and she's very happy about it. Oh, and then the trance work. Yes, I've also kind of been lackluster with my trance work, with my spirit flight work, partly because I've been focusing so much on the book. So a lot of it, what I have been doing recently has been mental, academic work-wise, and not like psychic-wise. So I kind of want to go from one hemisphere of the brain to the other hemisphere of the brain, if that makes sense. I don't really know why, but for some reason I also really want to work more with bones. I already do work with bones, but I have so many bones lying around that I originally got for the shop because I wanted to make products for the shop with those bones. But I never got around to do it, and now the shop has been closed for a year and the bones have just been lying around and I haven't used them. But I really want to finally do that, so I want to make things. I want to make things with the bones that I have lying around, so just devotional pieces for altars or jewelry or home decor that of course I will all enchant. So for some reason, when I thought about, oh, what do I want to do this upcoming dark half the year, I thought, okay, bones. I will finally get around to do stuff with the bones that I already have. And also I want to keep working on the Encyclopedia of Magical Herbs that I started recently. Of course, I will not be able to go around and take photos of plants a lot because not a lot of plants will be like in bloom and thriving. I will probably focus more on evergreens, of course, because it's winter, but I already have quite a lot of photos that I can work off of, so a lot of that work will be either researching the plants and just writing that stuff down, or gathering my own experience with those herbs, the ones that I already have at home. If you've seen my vlogs, you will know that a lot of the herbs that I gathered this year were destroyed because of mold in the room that they were drying in, so I have to kind of focus on the herbs that I bought. With some of them I can experiment a little bit and add that to my Encyclopedia of Magical Herbs, but a lot of it will be researched simply because I don't have the herbs at home at the moment because they were destroyed and because they are currently not growing outside. But still, even more academic work, I want to work on my Encyclopedia of Magical Herbs. I'm very excited about that at the moment. And then lastly, this is kind of something that I always do, is I want to do two things now that it's harvest season. One thing is I want to perform like a big ritual, a proper sacrificial ritual for the local spirits and the land spirits around here to just, well, give thanks for all of the things that we have been harvesting. Of course, us privately, not a lot yet, but I was foraging a lot, and then also I'm living in the countryside, so all of the farmers around here are like harvesting all of the produce that they grew. So of course I want to give thanks for that because we are living in the countryside here And even if you're not living in the countryside, it's always good to give thanks to the local spirits and the land spirits during harvest time. But I also want to focus a little bit on protection because the dark half of the year is coming up. And we know that with that also come not necessarily trickstery spirits, but let's just say less forthcoming and less kind spirits. Not necessarily evil spirits, but like they're just a little bit more on the darker side. So the spirits that are roaming outside change a little bit. So with that, of course, I want to put more protections on the house, also on myself. Oh, one last thing is now that we have actually a wood stove. Is it a stove? An oven? I think it's a stove. No, it's not a stove. What are you called? Something where I can burn wood in that heats the house. Okay, perfect. Now that we have that, we still have to get it running properly, but it is there. And I will definitely do a lot of magic with that. I am already a big fire magic fan, but I always had to keep it to candles and smaller cauldron fires in the house. But now I can make big fires in there, and also it will be just cozy in winter when it's very dark outside to sit in front of the stove, oven, whatever situation and read or play games or something, I don't know. But magical practice-wise, I will definitely do a lot there. Burn a lot of bind runes or herbal offerings or things like that. I'm excited about getting into that because honestly, during summer, I don't really want to make a big fire. That would be way too hot. So now that it's getting darker and colder, we can finally do that. I'm excited about that. Those are my plans for the dark half of the year. Feel free to share your plans with me and also, of course, everyone else in the community in the comment section. I'm always excited about reading about other people's plans as well, because I don't want this to become an echo chamber. I want to hear from you. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope maybe it gave you some ideas for your own practice. If you did, like the video, then make sure to subscribe and give a thumbs up and ring the bell down below so that you're notified whenever I upload a new video. Feel free to check out my Instagram if you want to keep up to date with more of my personal practice and my personal life, also outside of my witchcraft and heathenry practice. And if you want to support this channel, which would of course be well appreciated, then check out my Patreon and YouTube membership. And I will see you in another video. Bye!